Cowboys, sheriffs, and outlaws are the most popular figures of the Wild West. While their roles did contribute to history, several other occupations were essential for life on the frontier. Different types of jobs existed for various skill sets. Even women could make a living in a few different occupations. These workers helped shape and settle the American frontier. Number 10. Banker. Bankers were important to farmers and other workers on the frontier. Banks popped up as some of the first buildings in new towns. Bankers worked in banks that were centrally located in town. This protected them from robberies. Townspeople also helped defend their local bank from criminal activity. Ironically, criminal activity took place within banks anyway. Very few regulations on banking existed in the Wild West, so fraud was relatively common. Number 9. Miner. Miners famously flocked to California during the state's gold rush in the 1840s. Gold miners sought new lives as they sifted for treasure. Gold mining is perhaps the most well-known type of mining in the Wild West, but other materials like silver, iron, copper, and oil were important to the industry. Miners helped settle Alaska, Nevada, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, and North Dakota. Mining was a dangerous occupation, and miners were susceptible to diseases like tuberculosis. Number 8. Journalist. We may be tempted to associate journalism with the big cities of the East Coast, but the industry played a huge role in the everyday lives of people on the frontier. Small Wild West towns supported newspapers, as news from the East was in high demand. Small towns could have several newspapers. Tucson, Arizona, had 5 local newspapers in 1831. Writers, designers, and printers worked in journalism to produce content for settlers. Unlike newspapers of today, Wild West publications included not only news, but also essays on politics, religion, history, gardening, and more. Number 7. Teacher. Teaching was a male profession before the Civil War. During and after the war, women filled in for men and took over the occupation. Teachers could be as young as 15, but they had to remain single during their career. Once married, a woman would move into the home to raise her own children. Women interested in becoming teachers sat for a certification. They taught between 3 and 45 students, ranging from 1st to 8th grade. Frontier schoolhouses had only one room. The teacher would guide students through memorization, oration, and reading lessons. Teachers did not live on their own, but instead roomed with the family of one of their students. Number 6. Railroad laborer. Working on the railroad was one of the most labor-intensive jobs in the Wild West. An estimated 4,000 to 14,000 men were needed to complete the construction of the railroad system in the West. When only a few hundred Americans volunteered to build the railroad, Chinese immigrants were hired on. These laborers laid a staggering 1,700 miles of tracks in the Wild West. The Chinese workers had different habits from their American counterparts that helped them stay healthier on the job. They drank tea, avoided alcohol, and had a diet rich in vegetables. As a result, Chinese railroad laborers did not get sick with the diseases that plagued American workers. Number 5. Saloon girl and soiled dove. Few jobs existed for women in the Wild West, and many women resorted to prostitution as a way to earn a living. Prostitutes were called soiled doves in the Wild West. Most soiled doves were widows with few skills, or daughters of prostitutes who grew up familiar with the occupation. Soiled doves made up as much as 25% of the population in some Wild West towns. They averaged in age from 14, 30, and earned $1.05 per customer. High-class prostitutes could earn as much as $50, but this was rare. Soiled doves lived in parlor houses that displayed red lights at night. A half dozen to a dozen women lived in the parlor house together. Many women married after retiring from the prostitute life, while others were married throughout their careers to saloon or brothel owners who appreciated the extra income. Many soiled doves struggled with drug addiction and suicide. In contrast to the soiled doves of the Wild West, saloon girls entertained saloon patrons with singing, dancing, and conversation. They were rarely prostitutes and were considered good. Saloon girls could earn up to $10 per week plus drink commissions. Number 4. Blacksmith. Blacksmiths in the Wild West not only played a crucial role in shaping the material foundation of frontier towns, but also became symbols of resilience and adaptability in a rapidly changing environment. Beyond their traditional role of crafting and repairing hardware and farm equipment, blacksmiths became innovative problem solvers, creating specialized tools that address the unique challenges of life on the frontier. The demand for blacksmiths was not limited to the utilitarian needs of the townsfolk. As the West expanded, the development of transportation systems, such as railways and stagecoaches, brought forth new opportunities for blacksmiths. They became sought after for crafting and maintaining the metal components of these vital modes of transportation, ensuring the connectivity and growth of the frontier communities. In addition to their economic significance, blacksmiths were also influential in shaping the cultural fabric of the Wild West. The clang of the hammer on an anvil and the glow of the forge served as gathering points for communities, fostering a sense of camaraderie among the townspeople. Blacksmith shops often became social hubs, where locals would gather to exchange news, share stories, and forge connections beyond the metalworking itself. The success of blacksmiths in the Wild West extended beyond their individual careers. Many of them, recognizing the importance of passing on their skills, took on apprentices who learned not only the craft, but also imbibed the values of hard work, creativity, and resourcefulness. This tradition of mentorship contributed to the continuity of the blacksmithing trade and the legacy of these skilled artisans in the history of the American frontier. Number 3. Saloon Owner. Saloons, iconic fixtures of Wild West towns, emerged as vital social hubs during the frontier era. Not only did they serve as places for hardworking men to unwind after a grueling day, but they also played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural fabric of the untamed West. The prospect of quick and lucrative business prompted the rapid establishment of saloons in burgeoning settlements. These establishments were often the cornerstone of community life, offering not just refreshments but a melting pot of entertainment and social interaction. From card games and billiards to lively music, saloon owners curated an atmosphere that catered to the diverse tastes of their clientele. Bartenders, in addition to dispensing liquor and lukewarm beer, became central figures in the saloon lore. Their expertise in mixology and ability to concoct innovative drinks often defined the reputation of a saloon. Patrons would gather around the bar not only for libations, but also to engage in spirited conversations, sharing tales of the day's adventures on the frontier. The role of saloon owners extended beyond merely managing the bar. They assumed responsibility for overseeing gambling activities, ensuring a fair play that added an extra layer of excitement to the patrons' experiences. Saloon girls, often romanticized in popular culture, contributed to the vibrant atmosphere, offering companionship, dance, and a touch of glamour. Number 2. Lawman. The sheriff is one of the most popular figures of the Wild West. While seen as the arbiters of justice in small towns, many lawmen had shady beginnings as young criminals. The Civil War produced the Wild West's gunfighters. After the war, young men came home to few jobs and broken families. Most did not have any skills and turned to gunfighting as a main occupation. Sheriffs and other lawmen came from this culture of gunfighting. Several types of lawmen existed in the Wild West. United States Marshals were appointed by attorney generals. Sheriffs were elected by county residents. Marshals were chosen by city council members. Regardless of how a man became a lawman, he expected little or no pay for his position. He made most of his money from a second job, fines and bounties. Number 1. Cowboy. The cowboy, revered as the quintessential symbol of the Wild West, embodied a lifestyle that, despite its romanticized portrayal in Western films, diverged significantly from the glamorous facade. Originating in Mexico, the role of cowboys extended far beyond the cinematic narrative, encompassing crucial tasks related to the protection and herding of cattle. In the harsh reality of the frontier, cowboys faced constant challenges, particularly from bandits seeking to pilfer valuable cattle for lucrative profits. The diligence required to safeguard these prized animals added a layer of complexity to their daily responsibilities, dispelling the myth of a carefree, adventurous existence. Mastering essential skills such as riding, herding, and roping, cowboys were indispensable figures in the cattle industry. Their earnings, ranging from $25 to $40 per month, mirrored the grit and determination demanded by the profession. Adjusted for inflation, this would be the equivalent of approximately $950 to $1,500 today, highlighting the modest financial rewards for a demanding occupation that shaped the rugged landscapes of the Wild West. The legacy of the cowboy, though tinged with the gloss of Hollywood, is grounded in the harsh realities and vital contributions of those who dedicated their lives to the untamed frontiers of the American West.